Since this is Seth MacFarlane's third film, Ted 2, the sequel to Ted 1, this movie could go one of two ways. It could be as good as Ted 1, or it could die in the West like his last movie. Ted 2, directed and written by Seth MacFarlane, the same guy who created the Family Guy series. Now, if you've seen Ted 1, you know the premise of these movies. Mark Wahlberg plays John, a man who, when he was a boy, he wished that his teddy bear would come to life. And lo and behold, the teddy bear does come to life. They become best friends, thunder buddies for life, and when John grows up, so is the teddy bear, and they start to smoke marijuana together. Now, the first movie was hilarious. I love the first movie. Mark Wahlberg and Ted, voiced by Seth MacFarlane, were great together. They had great chemistry. Mila Kunis was great in the movie as well. Giovanni Ribisi was very good as the villain. It was a great scene. Flash Gordon, Sam Jones in the movie as well. Now here's the sequel, Ted 2, and unfortunately it's not as good as the first one. The plot of this movie is Ted now has his own life. He's married to the woman of his dreams, Tammy Lynn, played by Jessica Barth, and they want to have a baby. And it looks like the only way to get a baby is to ask for John, Mark Wahlberg's character, to be the sperm donor. But when Ted is trying to get all this to happen, complications come up and he's losing his rights to be seen as a person legally. So now he's got to fight to get those rights back. So him, Tammy Lynn, and John get a lawyer. Amanda Seyfried's character, Samantha Leslie Jackson, yes, the same initials as Samuel L. Jackson. And that's pretty much our movie. So the positives of this movie. Well, the positives, Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane as Ted, they still have great chemistry together. There are still a few moments where I was laughing out loud very much. Ted has great chemistry with Jessica Barth as well, woman who plays Tammy Lynn. Let's talk about the negatives. The negatives, there are a lot of jokes in this movie that fall flat. Mila Kunis is not in this movie because she's pregnant. Not her character, the actual actress is pregnant. And because of that, they have to give Mark Wahlberg's character a new love interest, Amanda Seyfried's character, Samantha Leslie Jackson. And the whole thing behind their relationship is that Mark Wahlberg can now be the man that he likes to be, smoking marijuana. He can actually smoke marijuana with her. She likes to smoke marijuana as well, which is funny and all, but at the same time it kind of pushes his character backwards instead of forwards. And they don't have that great chemistry together. The chemistry between them is not as great as the chemistry he had with Mila Kunis. It's great seeing Sam Jones again in this movie. He's pretty good. And Giovanni Ribisi returns back as the villain, Donnie. But in this movie, he just feels redundant, and his character works for Hasbro, so it's blatantly obvious that he's also there to promote Hasbro, since obviously Hasbro's sponsoring the movie. And this movie's just not that good. There are a few scenes from the first movie that are actually rehashed for this movie, only done a little bit differently. Patrick Warburton, the guy who played the Tick, he shows up in this movie as well. One of the actors from Star Trek Next Generation, and they're at Comic-Con bullying comic nerds, and I don't like that because I'm a Comic-Con nerd. I just came back from Comic-Con, and I don't like seeing people being bullied. That's stupid. It's not really all that funny. But the movie was not terrible. It was just not as good as the first one, and unfortunately, it doesn't feel like it's worth going to see in the theaters. I'm going to give this movie a C+. Pretty much Netflix or Redbox it, and that's all I gotta say for Ted 2.